How you doing, everybody? I'm Ken Bykoff, and welcome to the Peegs Postgame Live. Indiana moves to 2-0 on the season with the 56-9 win over Kennesaw State on Merchant Bank Field at Memorial Stadium. We are posted up outside the tennis center on the north side of Assembly Hall on an absolutely jaw-dropping, gorgeous day here in Bloomington. Joined today for the one game a year where we have Charlie the intern joins us, and we're very, very excited for that. I haven't transitioned to the video feed yet. There we are. All right, a lot of bells and whistles as always. How you doing, everybody? Very excited to be with you today. Indiana did a great job, especially in the second half, of putting Kennesaw State away. A little concerning early in the game in that Indiana was not letting Kennesaw State hang around, but certainly leaving some opportunities on the field, but brought everything together. Defense didn't give up a touchdown. Uh, Indiana started catching the damn ball, which was really, really important for this. And the Hoosiers end up with the 56-9 victory. We got a caller on the line, but real quick, I'm going to give Charlie a chance to say hi and give some thoughts.
Yeah, in that first, second quarter, especially the first quarter, it was real bad with the completions going on with IU, and I was like, get it together, guys. And then they got it together in the second quarter, so that was pretty fun.
The Hoosiers, 593 yards of total offense. Charlie, the intern, 10 years old, he comes in and covers the game. Very excited to have him with us. We got a caller. We're going to go right to him. Not mess around, caller. If I could have your name, where you're from, and what you got.
Hey, how you doing, Peegs? This is Jeff from here in Bloomington.
Jeff, how are you doing?
Not too bad. Hey, Charlie, good post game analysis. I agree. First drive started out rough, right? Bounced back. It's established a run game. Passing for Mendoza was definitely more in stride. Couple big drops. What else we got? Yeah, mass exodus at halftime. I was there. It wasn't that bad, but I dipped out into the third quarter with my 10-year-old. Uh, you know, Signetti can preach all he wants about keeping butts in seats, but I paid $500 more this year than last. He doesn't write my checks, so a little warm and a runaway game. I'm dipping out when I feel like it. I hate to say it.
Well,
You
third
know,
quarter makes sense. End of third quarter, that thing's in check. That's fine. At halftime, I don't understand why people spend all the money on the tickets if they're going to stay for half the game. But
I agree.
I was very happy that the students definitely showed up in packs to start the
I
game.
was getting ready to say that.
Yeah,
Yeah, good job from the students staying a little bit longer. So, uh, great afternoon. How about that? Take the dub and look forward to Friday night game, right?
absolutely.
Yeah, the students did a great job with at least staying till like halfway through
Halftime. Yeah.
halftime. Yeah, and then half of them left, and then the rest stayed to the end of the game. I like them staying strong.
But thank you so much for the
Yep.
call. I
So,
appreciate it.
yeah, thanks. Yep,
Thanks a lot. 812-393-2600 is the number if you happen to be in the Memorial Stadium parking lot. We're out here under a red canopy that I'm a little concerned is going to blow away. But, it's a little bit windier than it has been. I I will say this much, that I didn't feel like the wind that was still blowing pretty good during the game didn't really impact the passing game that much. Fernando Mendoza, 18 to 25 passing, 245 yards, 4 touchdowns, and they turned it over to his brother, Alberto Mendoza. 3 of 3 for 35 yards and a touchdown. According to Sammy Jacobs from Hoosier Huddle, it is college football history in that it is the first time that brothers have thrown touchdown passes in the same game, for in college football history, which is would be pretty incredible if that's the case. But that's history, and that's fantastic. Also, just it had a lot that I really liked about this ball game. And that is something that we could nitpick a ton last time that Indiana played Old Dominion, but this one outside of a couple of things along the way, I thought Indiana played pretty well, especially in the second half. If you're talking about, some of the things that I really enjoyed in this game, Indiana's run blocking I thought was really, really really good. They did a nice job of finishing runs at that. Nice chunk plays for the Hoosier run game. If you look at this Indiana ball club, they rush for a total of 313 yards on the ground. And when you talk about the chunk plays, which for in the run game are runs of 10 plus yards, they had 10 of them. I'm talking 14 yards, 24, 11, 21, 29, a 75-yard touchdown by Omar Cooper, who had a really nice game. And the Hoosiers just were able to dominate on the ground, and that really opened up the passing game, Charlie.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say about that 75-yard touchdown. That was a good catch and a good run from Omar Cooper Jr. And I think he's done a real good job the past couple years, and I hope he keeps doing it through this season.
Well, he wasn't much of a factor in that first game, including dropping a pass. But Cooper in this one had just the one catch. I'm sorry, one carry for 75 yards. But then he added one catch for 40 yards, scored a touchdown on both of those plays. So that was nice. I was also very happy to see Elijah Surratt not only be targeted more today, but actually, catch the ball, make things happen. 9 catches for 97 yards, 3 tutties. Just a hell of a day for Elijah, who wasn't that involved in the offense last week rather, and it was really great to see him going. 812-393-2600 is the number. The lines are open. We want to hear from you. Also, you could join us in the parking lot here at Memorial Stadium by the Tennis Center, and also if you want to join us in the YouTube chat, we take questions there. But Indiana did a lot of very nice things on the day. Defensive line was more disruptive. But the opponent matters. It's Kennesaw State, so we understand that is part of the equation there. But I really, really like, Charlie, the level of violence that this defense brings. It's one thing to tackle a guy. It's another thing to hit and play with some violence, and I really appreciate the level of clean violence that the Hoosiers were able to bring to the field today.
Yeah, especially I forget what play it was and who made the tackle, but one of those sacks, the quarterback for Kennesaw State got lit up. I thought he was hurt for a minute there.
Yeah, and one thing that I will say is disappointing. Dexter Williams, former IU quarterback who suffered a terrible knee injury in the bucket game a couple of years ago, he's at Kennesaw State. He started this game, I think was in for only 1 or 2 series, and then he came out. I don't know why, but he did come out of the ball game. 812-393-2600 is the number. Wanted to talk about a couple of things that I wasn't wild about this. And that was Indiana's pass coverage, I felt was a little bit more generous than I would have liked to have seen at times, a little bit softer than what they need to be.
Yep.
Again, looking at the chunk plays, which are a big part of it. Chunk plays for passing gains of 15 plus yards. You had 5 of them. Now, Indiana had 6 of them themselves, but the key for this is that those chunk plays for Kennesaw State weren't just at like 15, 16, 17 yards. They were 38 yards and 32 yards and 34 and 21. And that's where you could run into a problem, especially when you go into the Illinois game and Big Ten opponents. Those things start to grow. And so I want to see a little bit less of that. Certainly against Indiana State next week, but definitely going forward. Wasn't wild about. I haven't had a lot wrong with what I thought that Kurt Signetti has done during his time here. I was not wild about the turtle at the end of the first half. Give up
No, me neither.
Yeah, but give up a field goal to Kennesaw State with 28 seconds left. You get the ball with 28 seconds left at your own 25. You have 2 timeouts on first down. Take a shot. Kennesaw is going to get the ball back. Instead, they ran a play, and then that was that. For that, they went into halftime. Kennesaw got the ball to start the second half, came down and kicked a field goal. Now, the fact that they were able to get Bill Lynch wins on both of those is which is when you give up a long drive and then hold them to a field goal. Bill Lynch used to call those wins. you get a Bill Lynch win on that, so it doesn't hurt you, and it's Kennesaw State. But again, Hurt has not been a guy who's been shy to kind of go after things, so I was a little surprised that he turtled in that instance. But you know what? That's kind of part of the equation that you just have to deal with some disagreements along the way.
Yeah, I had something good to say about Elijah Surratt. I was looking back at my notes here, and he had a 20-yard touchdown pass from Fernando Mendoza. That was a pretty fun one. That was a cool pass.
That was great. 812-393-2600 is the number. We got a caller on the line. Caller, if I could have your name, where you're from, and what you got.
Hey, Ken. Dr. Jordan Rayner from Richmond, Indiana. Question for you is, I love the improvements today. Obviously, we got a long way to go, but with Illinois coming up here in a couple of weeks, what are you thinking from an offensive perspective? Do you think we're holding stuff back just to not put some things on tape, or do you think defensively we're doing some of that? I'm just kind of curious how much of the playbook you think they're really opening up right now. And then last part of the question for you and your fabulous intern is, what's your favorite place to eat in Bloomington? Thanks, Ken.
Okay, well, let's start with them holding stuff back. Yeah, no question, no question that we are not seeing the full offense or the full complement of everything. When you're talking about it just being Kennesaw State or Indiana State or anybody that they've had, I don't think that for a second that is going to be. They're not opening up the playbook for that. What I do like is that Indiana has been really, really effective with all of that, and they could go ahead and be make the most of that limited playbook that they had. Now, when you're talking about places to eat in Bloomington, there's a lot of different places. Mother Bear's is a a favorite of mine. Nick's is really great. I love that a lot. So I would, but you're talking about a lot of different places here. Yonkos is great. Zagreb's, there's a lot of great places. I would go with Nick. So if they were saying, okay, you got one more meal here in Bloomington, and then we're going to fire you out of a cannon, I would go with Nick's myself.
I would go with the mac and cheese place, Noodles and Co. Noodles and Co. I will compliment them. They are a really good company.
That is
I like.
not a Bloomington restaurant, boy. That is a franchise. We have failed you as parents.
I like Noodles and Company.
All right. 812-393-2600 is the number. Did you have a question you want to join us on there? Hop up, Charlie. We're going to go ahead and bring in one of our Memorial Stadium fans coming in to talk to us a little bit. What's your name? Where are you from? What you got?
My name's Taylor. I hail from born and raised actually about 5 miles outside of West Lafayette. So that's kind of the shady side of the great state of Indiana, but I'm glad to be a Hoosier fan, especially over the last 2 years. I guess one of my questions were, what was your thoughts on there was a pick in the third quarter, and I don't know the name of the player, went to the end zone. Excuse me, I'm losing my thought here. Celebrate with some of the other players, came over to the sideline, and Signetti just lit his butt up. I don't know what was said. I don't know what your thoughts are celebrating after a big play. Should we not be doing that? Should we be doing it? That type of thing.
Who the opponent is matters to me, and especially what the score is at that point. And if it's a throw that I'm thinking of, it hit him. It hit I think Lewis Moore right in the stomach. I believe that's what it was, and he came back. So I mean, the kid made a bad pass. You caught it. Good for you. To me, you did it. That's good enough. But football's an emotional game, and I get that. And you don't want to take the fun out of it. But by that same token, if you're beating the hell out of an opponent, act like you've been there a little bit, and that is also me being a 50-year-old crotchety guy. So there's that. So I mean that's all part of the equation as well.
And then, not really a question, but like more of a comment. Just going based off how we played last week versus how we played this week. It's amazing how more open our playbook can be when we give 13 the ball.
Oh sure.
I mean, best player on the field. Give him the ball, let him eat as much as possible, and that just opens your playbook up.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I was a little surprised that he didn't get the ball more last week. He was targeted, I think, once, maybe twice. He did drop a ball today. Wasn't wild about that. In fact, in the first half, Mendoza was 10 of 15 passing for a buck 44. He had 3 drops on him, and so that was disappointing. They cleaned that up in the second half, and so that was good. But getting Surratt involved certainly is really important, and his 9-catch, 97-yard, 3-touchdown day today was exactly what you want to see against a team like Kennesaw State.
Absolutely. Yep. Just keep on feeding 13 the ball.
Yep.
That's my biggest give 13 the ball.
I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much. Thanks for representing the Hoosiers up in the dark part of the state up there. Appreciate it. 812-393-2600 is the number. Lines are open. We want to hear from you. This was an Indiana team that 56 points is great. Defense gave up 271 yards in this one. Indiana was also better in the red zone, I should say. 7 of 7 in the red zone versus what they did last week against Kennesaw State. So the fact that they were finishing off drives was really, really important. Held the ball for 32 minutes and 30 seconds. Put up nice numbers. And, when you're able to do all of that, Lee Beebe Jr., 11 carries for 90 yards, scored a touchdown. Roman Hemby, 9 carries for 64 yards. Keon Black, 10 carries for 57 yards. You got a lot of different guys touching the ball, a lot of targets in the passing game, and you just had an overall efficient game, and that was really, really made me happy to see all of that, because when you have a lot of weapons, it makes a big difference. 812-393-2600 is the number. Lines are open. We want to hear from you, or if you are in the Memorial Stadium parking lot, come on over and join us in the red canopy by the tennis center. You can come by. You can say hi to Mrs. Bykoff over here, who's hiding from the camera. So there's that as well. But if you're listening on the podcast, I can't pull it up right now, but if you're listening on the podcast afterwards, this is where I'm going to drop in Sig's press conference. So we have that. If we get the press conference in a little bit, then we'll play it on here as well. But I want to hear from you. 812-393-2600 is the number. Charlie, it looks like you're itching to talk here.
Yeah, I was wanting to talk about the penalties / referees in this game. I can't. I think the pass interference in the end zone near the end of the game on IU. I didn't see, and if in the chat anybody want to tell me who made the contact on who?
Well, they called it on LeBron Bond, but there was no contact there. I thought it was a garbage call. It cost Indiana a touchdown, and then earlier in the game,
Didn't really need that touchdown.
no, but it doesn't make a difference. You play the game that you have. Earlier in the game, Fernando Mendoza was very clearly the victim of a targeting. Very clearly on a run. He went head first, but you had a guy just a textbook targeting. And not only did they not call it, they didn't review it. They were reviewing if he made it made that first down marker or not. And then they said that I believe they said he was short on that one.
Yeah.
Even though I disagreed with the spot of that ball. But, it is what it is. That's the case. 812-393-2600 is the number. If people are joining us a little bit later, joined here by Charlie the intern for his annual non-conference game to join us. I'll tell you right now, Charlie Bykoff hit a bunch of notes in the press box. First off, best dressed person in the press box, had a bunch of notes that he did as well. And he prepared for this a hell of a lot more than I did, I can tell you. But I'm a little bit newer at it. We want to hear from you. Lines are open. 812-393-2600 is the number. Charlie, it's important to mention the fact that Indiana's now played 8 quarters of football. They've given up 2 touchdowns, none in this game, but and then you had the 75 and 78 yarder against Old Dominion. But what we're talking about there is 2 busts on defense in the first game, and they kept them out of the end zone for this. So the offense has been a little bit up and down at times, but I felt that the defense certainly has found consistency in these first 2 games, even with those couple of busts in the first game and the fact the defensive line wasn't quite as disruptive as I'd like them to be.
I thought that, even watching some of those clips of those 2 touchdowns there, that Sig definitely gave the defense a speech about that and worked on it in practice, and then they came and translated it into the game.
No question. 812-393-2600 is the number. And I'll tell you this right now. We've had people mention this before that they weren't wild about having Charlie on the air. And if you don't like the day that my intern comes, don't listen to me. I'm cool with that. I can live with that just perfectly. But I want to hear from you in the chat. I want to hear what you have to say. We'll stay on the air for as long as we get some calls and we go through this without just beating a dead horse, which is just part of that the effort. 812-393-2600. 56 to, oh, look at this. How about that? They've already got the Kurt Signetti press conference on the air. So let's see if I can go ahead and pull this up. Here for everybody to listen to out here. So here is Kurt Signetti. Let's hope we can hear him. I don't know if we're going to hear him or not. Oh, I have it on mute. That explains a lot, actually.
Pleased with the way. Okay, good day. I think we made the improvement we needed to make. It was far from perfect. We'll see areas there that we're not pleased with tomorrow when we watch the tape. But we took a step forward, the step we needed to take. Probably most pleased with the way we dominated the second half. We got off to a fast start in the game and sort of bumbled around in the second quarter a little bit. And so it was a 15-point game at halftime, but we outscored them in the second half 31-3, and I think we scored 31 straight at the end. And it was good to empty the bench and see our twos make some plays, particularly in the pass game, like Charlie Becker and some other guys, Alberto. Good day in terms of making the progress. Also, when we built the big lead, I like the way our guys kept playing one play at a time like it was nothing. I didn't see guys laughing on the sideline, kind of a relief syndrome. That's what we ask them to do, time to be satisfied in the locker room. So I was a little bit of a tyrant on the sideline in the fourth quarter, but my job is to make the team the best it can be. So that's the way it is. Questions?
Exactly, we left in this.
You allude to it here, there, Kurt, but was that third quarter in particular, I think you scored 21 or 28 straight points in the third quarter. Was that third quarter kind of what, in your mind, this team can look like in terms of offensive efficiency, some of the explosiveness, and then the way that you were, I think, in particular, kind of playing in Kennesaw State's backfield when they had the ball?
Yeah, well, it looked like that today, and that was great to see, because, last time we really waxed somebody was Purdue. That was a long time ago, so it was good to get back kind of to that. And Cooper's reverse was a real big play in the game. Really good run and a lot of good downfield blocking. And you're right, our defense started to penetrate, make plays in their backfield a little bit. And we took it over and, needed to see that from this team because there's a lot of new guys on this team. There were a lot of new guys last year, but a lot of them came with me and I knew them. And they understood the culture, the standard, the expectation. A lot of the guys that we have there new aren't like Pat Coogan, who came from Notre Dame, a team that went far in the playoffs, championship culture. Some of these guys have come from 500 programs. And, like I said to our coaches this morning, you got to really coach this team every day right now. And, reinforce the standards and the expectations, everything you do, like the walkthrough yesterday, I wasn't really pleased with. And, but it was all new guys. And you just can't assume they know, because they don't. They don't know they don't know. And so pleased we took a step forward and get ready for the next one.
Yes, I left the Bradley.
When you say you weren't pleased with the walkthrough, what did you see, just the focus in the walkthrough yesterday, just what kind of bothered you? And then is that part of the reason why you got maybe to see that focus, you left the guys in longer in the fourth quarter?
No, I kept them in longer because we need to play football. We got some games coming up where we've got to be able to play that many plays. And we haven't executed over a long period of time as well as we need to. So we need reps, we need game reps. The walkthrough was more of a, it's not a physically taxing day. It's only a 25-minute walkthrough. Get about 40 plays on offense and defense. But they got to be sharp mentally. And, it's not a time to kind of be relaxed mentally either. So you're getting more reps on the game plan. Right splits, alignments, checks, or sundials, etc. But it's not the first walkthrough that, we've been pleased with. You know what I'm saying?
Randy on your left, and Sammy.
Elijah Surratt's big day. Your thoughts on just what is it that leads him to have performances like this?
Yeah, I was glad to see him get going a little bit. Last year in camp, he really didn't have a lot of catches, but he got them during the season. Not quite as many as he did at JMU. Same thing in camp. He didn't have a ton of catches, and not in the first game either. And so I was glad to see him bust out and those two kind of hook up a little bit. And all these new quarterbacks, they build on their successes early in the season. You win, they play well, they build on it. And same thing happened last year with Curtis. He didn't have the greatest opener. He sure played good the second game, even though the opponent then obviously lights out the third. So Mendoza to Surratt, Mendoza to Cooper, and other guys that would be important to hook up.
Sammy upper left, and Jim.
Coach, on the field goal with the delay game,
Yeah.
what was the choice to not kick it after?
It was a bad football decision, first of all. We had a couple drops, I believe, that series, and we were up, and we got a delay on the field goal, and missed it anyhow. And then we're moved back 5 yards. Really didn't want to go for it, but didn't want to have to put Frankie in for the field goal either. And we did what we did, and didn't work out.
Jim in front, and Daniel.
Kurt, your running game has been very consistent from statistically, and last week Roman Emby was the workhorse. This week it was BB. How confident are you in having that run game, that triple threat running game?
Well, all those guys are capable, and it starts up front with the tight ends and then the receivers too. And those guys run hard and break tackles, and it just helps when you can be balanced on offense and run it and throw it. And the thing about early in the year, I think you learn as a staff every game a little bit, like, we need to have a little bit more of this kind of stuff down in this field zone, or things like that, right? I mean, because you got to have enough diversionary stuff, so to speak. But today it was BB. Hemby still ran well. Kalon Cooper had 75 yards on the reverse. Got to keep him healthy. Right? We got a little more depth at some positions on this team than others.
Daniel in front, and seven.
When you have a sideline that's, not laughing, playing like it's, all tied up late, even when you are up big, how relieving is that for you to see that it's a team that's bought into what you're trying to preach to them?
How relieving, you said?
Yes.
I'm never relieved until I'm going to be relieved when I go out my office and crack a beer. But on the field, I'm never relieved. Because you got to keep the pedal to the metal. You're trying to really teach habits, right? And how you do something is how you do everything. And you're either improving or you're getting worse. So if you're playing to the circumstances of the game, you're getting worse, right? And you got to be able to handle success and failure. And then play the next play at your very best. And those are habits. And you're trying to create those habits. So at the end of the game, I was pleased, yes. But our kids, I think, we have enough guys here that have been here that understand what we want. And that we're not happy with the way they played last week. And they responded really well in the fourth quarter.
Set on your left, and we'll wrap this up.
Yeah, Kurt, on that, with the way the offense got the job done in the red zone and the way the defense contained the quarterback in the ground game, how pleased were you with the way your team saw what needed to improve from last week and work to address?
Well, that had to happen, and we answered the bell. Because like I said, we're number one in the country in scoring touchdowns in the red area last year. And the last week was, it was what it was. So it was good to see that ball get in the end zone.
Zach, in your investment.
Coach, Kennesaw State had 8 plays of 15 or more yards offensively. What have you seen? What do you chalk some of those chunk plays up to the defenses allowed early this season?
Well, when people go real fast like they do, or then they check to put themselves in the best look, and they take those big wide splits, right, and use the field, there's going to be some throwing lanes. You know what I'm saying? And so we'll take a look at the tape. I know they came out in the second half and challenged us down the field a little bit. And I thought we played really well against ODU, aside from 2 plays, and I thought we played, give up 9 points today.
All right.
So there was Curt Signetti, and he actually mentioned something there right at the end that I think does have something to do with Indiana's trouble of giving up some of those chunk plays, and that is the speed at which Kennesaw State ran their offenses. Warp speed. It was really, really fast, and that creates more confusion, and that could lead to some issues. 812-393-2600 is the number. Throw a question into the chat. We're happy to talk about that. Wanted to, for the people that are coming in, why is he sitting here? It's Charlie the intern joining me for his annual game. And to me, that's the beautiful thing about Curt Signetti is that he never gets too high, he never gets too low, and just does a great job of being focused. 13-2 as Indiana's head football coach, and those kind of numbers are absolutely incredible for this Indiana football program that historically has unfortunately struggled. But, it is also a team that has really been rolling really well over the past couple of seasons. And it was fun to see Indiana, Charlie, come out and put in the performance that they did, where they beat Kennesaw State and they stayed on the gas throughout the entire second half.
Yeah, I really like that from the not just letting things go, even when you're up 49-9. They're not stopping. They're not pressing the brake. They're firing on all cylinders from kickoff to final buzzer, and I love that about Bert and all the guys that are all the players that are here right now.
812-393-2600 is the number. 56-9 is your final right in here. So now Indiana, let's see, I was a journalism major here at IU, so it wasn't math. But let's see, 9 points and 14, that's 23. See, that's good addition. And then 56 and 27, that's 83. So what you have is a Indiana defense that in 2 games has given up 2 touchdowns on 2 long plays and is holding teams to field goals when they get close. To me, that isn't a problem at all.
And I like the passing yards here. 280 passing yards on the day, and that's pretty good for Fernando and his brother
Alberto.
Again,
Indiana's backfield is a romance novel. You got Fernando and Alberto and Roman and Keon. I love it. 812-393-2600 is the number as the wind picks up, which could very well be in God telling me to shut up, but we'll see. As long as he stays away from the lightning, I'll feel better about that. Indiana with almost 600 yards of total offense. And on the back of what they did last week, I'm very happy with that. Again, going through some of the likes and dislikes that I had, I did just, again, the receivers have to catch the ball and would like to have seen more Dexter Williams. I'm just I'm sad. That kid had a ton of potential that we saw here, and then for him to not be able to get any kind of he has the real bad injury, and he comes back. I was happy to see him playing. I'm just sad that he's not out there being able to do more than he did.
Yeah, he's probably in recovery from that injury.
It's been a couple of years now, so
yeah, just getting the baby steps back into the big, full game going all the way.
Indiana being able to come out here and hold Kennesaw State to 89 yards rushing, 182 yards passing. Kennesaw 13 to 21 passing as well. Their guys actually made a couple of really nice catches as well, and Indiana's defense continued to be disruptive as time went on. So that was really important for them to go ahead and build off of that. Lines open. We'll stay on for a couple of more minutes, hoping that we'll get some calls here. We're also hoping to get a phone call here from Jared Kelly from Peegs.com, if he's available. Oh, somebody's having a problem taking down their canopy. That's a group effort going on over there. That's a little bit rough. It's starting to get a little bit windy, so I mean, it probably would have felt good in the stands today to actually have a little bit more breeze than what they got.
But like he said, it didn't really impact any of the football play today. I think it was more wind higher up, and then lower down the walls were protecting the ball and everything from the wind.
So again, I mentioned earlier, Kurt Signetti, 13-2, proving this.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
Hard to argue with that. The man's been the head coach for 15 games, gone to the college football playoffs, lost twice so far, and lost to the teams that were the national champions and the runner-up to the champions. Give him a ton of credit for that. 812-393-2600. If you have any questions, throw them on into the chat. We're happy to answer there as well. Just really excited that this Hoosier offense is doing as well as it had. Crimson Cast, who's friends of ours, they have their own podcast. That's a very, very good podcast. Says this is the first time since at least 2016 that IU has had 2 300-plus rushing yards back to back, and I'm not sure when the last time that happened was. Yeah, it starts to gets out there. It said last time they even did it once in a season against versus an FBS opponent was in 2016 against Maryland, where they had 414 yards of rushing. The fact that Indiana's offensive line was able to open some holes, I think, was really important and hold those holes open. Again, the opponent matters. It's Kennesaw State, and I get that. But the fact of the matter is you still have to beat the teams that are in front of you. And if you could throw up 600 yards of total offense, I think it's just shows how effective this offense can be when it runs as well as it does.
Yeah, for sure. If we have good people coming in, wanting to play, wanting to be out there, and giving it their absolute all, I feel like we can be real, real good this year.
It has the makings of something that could be special. You know, this is it isn't clean. And that's actually not necessarily a bad thing because of the fact that it allows Signetti and his coaching staff to focus on what they have to do better. You're not trying to pick fly specks out of the pepper. You are really can concentrate on a couple of different areas. And you have a quick turnaround now by getting ready for Indiana State. That's going to be coming up in next Friday Night Lights here at Memorial Stadium. That is a 6:30 kickoff. It's not these noon kickoffs on Saturday that I absolutely adore. It's a 6:30 kickoff, but it should be a ton of fun to see what the Hoosiers are able to do and keep this streak running. You want to be able to start hitting your stride when they play Illinois in a couple of weeks, when you go to Iowa, when you have to take on some Big Ten teams. So there's a lot of improvement that we could see going forward, but there's no question that we saw steps forward between last week and this week, and that's really, the most important thing for us. Last call for phone calls, 812-393-2600. Pick up a phone, give me a call, throw me something in the chat. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and we'll wrap this up because it's a gorgeous Saturday, Charlie.
Yes, it is, and I really have nothing more to say except that was some good, not great football, but good football from the Indiana Hoosiers today. I'd like to see more consistency with catching the ball in the passing game, and I hope they persevere and get it done.
So Charlie Bykoff has joined us for the entire show. You are always welcome to join the Peegs podcast. We're going to be posting up out here outside of the tennis center all year. Please come and join us because we want to hear what you have to say. I also want to give a shout out to Indiana Athletics, who has been fantastic in allowing Charlie to join me for these games over the past few years. And it means a lot to me as a father. It means a lot that he gains experience that a lot of 10-year-olds don't get to have. And I feel very lucky that you do have the athletic department that you do at IU because it is a good group of people. And maybe it's not the most journalism kind of thing for me to say, but I'll tell you right now, I do appreciate it. And you do have some people that are really care about making sure that things are special when they have that opportunity. Charlie, 56 to 9 is your final score. Do you have any final thoughts for us?
I mean, thank you, Greg Campbell and Jeff Keg, for letting me come out and help him out in the press box today. And I had a lot of fun today, and I hope everybody else coming to these games in the future has a lot of fun, just as much fun as I did.
Well, we appreciate it, and I appreciate you tuning in to watch and listening on the podcast. We'll be back out here. I'll be back out here with Kurt Signetti's press conference. That'll go up next week. Really appreciate it as we continue to roll. You got one more thing you want to say?
Thank you, Adam.
Adam. Okay.
In the chat.
Oh, Adam in the chat. Yeah. He says, great job, intern Charlie. And Charlie, the intern, was actually recognized here in the parking lot today, and that's really fantastic. Oh, here we go. Here's before we leave, here's Jared Kelly from Peegs.com to join us. Jared, how are you doing?
I'm good. We just got done with Kurt Signetti down here on the field at Memorial Stadium. Heard from the players. Overall, it's a really good day for the Hoosiers.
So, what did you enjoy the most? Is there anything that concerned you?
Concern-wise, I think Indiana cleaned up a lot of the mistakes that it had in week one. Obviously, we saw the drops today, some lapses in the secondary as well. But a lot of the things that we wanted to see from them, cleaned up in week two. I think we saw a lot of that. Offensively, I think what really helps with Indiana, especially Fernando Mendoza, I think the play calling was just better today in terms of I feel like Mike Shanahan opened up the playbook a lot more, kind of reached deeper into his bag of plays, and really allowed Mendoza to kind of do different things that we didn't see in week one. And that was important, just get him into a rhythm. That's what I wanted to see this week was, let him take some chances downfield. Do different things. We saw the end around with Omar Cooper that went for the long touchdown. Just different things that kind of get Mendoza confident going forward.
Well, think about the play at the goal line that got Surratt one of the touchdowns, where it was kind of a play action thing. He went in motion toward the line of scrimmage and then kind of just broke back out, and it was an easy touchdown. It's those kind of things in the red zone that we didn't see last week.
Yeah, and that's honestly why I wasn't too worried. I know there was a lot of fans that were a little concerned with Fernando Mendoza, for his week one performance. But I was saying the same thing Matt Weaver was saying the same thing Jeff Rabjohn. Like, we weren't concerned because we had seen Mike Shanahan call really good games before, and we felt week one it was a very vanilla play calling from him. And this week, obviously they didn't show their whole hand that they're going to go into the Big Ten play with, but it was a lot more, I think, of what you can expect from Indiana's offense going forward. I think week one was more of an aberration, sort of, let's see what we have. Let's keep it simple. Let the ground game really get going. And today it was really more, let's establish the pass game early. Let's get Elijah Surratt going. And I think all of that kind of came together really well for Mendoza.
We've already gotten to hear what Kurt Signetti said in the press conference here on the show, but just what were your thoughts on the way that he seemed and just took this game in?
He was definitely pleased for sure. Well, a lot more pleased than he was after week one, that's for sure. He said he's going to go have a beer after he wraps up with us. So, no, but it was good to hear too. He said, on the sidelines when Indiana was up big, when they were up, 45, and the game was very handily, it won for Indiana. He basically went to the players and said, I don't want to see any laughing. I don't want to see any smiling until this game's over. And this is a lot of what we heard last season from Signetti, right? Even when Indiana was up big, he really just wanted the players to kind of finish the game all the way through, no matter if the starters win, backups win. So I thought that was good. The accountability piece and just finishing games strong is still there for the Hoosiers. And it's business as usual for Signetti. I mean, he said on Friday the team's walkthroughs he was not too pleased with how that went, and they responded today. So yeah, like I said, I'm not worried about Indiana. I think they're on the right track right now. They're trending upwards, and this is exactly what you want. Obviously they have Indiana State next week, but looking ahead to week 4, the Illinois game, that's a huge one, and I think they're trending in the right direction right now.
Surratt with the 9 catches for 97 yards and the 3 touchdowns. Jared, how important was he? Was it for him to have the day that he did?
It was huge. I mean, we knew coming into the season, you have an All-American receiver, you need to use him. He's a guy that needs to be getting anywhere from 7 to 10 targets a game. Week 1, first half, he didn't get a single target in the first half. I think he finished with 5 last week. It was one of the things I mentioned. I mentioned a few times. I was like, "Where's Elijah Surratt?"
Right.
And we finally saw him this week break through. And like I said, this goes back to the play calling. I feel like a lot of the play calling last week wasn't geared towards sort of getting him going, which is okay because what you have in Elijah Surratt. You can kind of push the buttons whenever you want with him. So I felt like it was a lot more of Indiana trying to see what else it had outside of Surratt. And then this week, obviously we saw Indiana unleash him. So really good to see him get going, and honestly, more importantly, to see him and Fernando Mendoza get on the same page.
Your thoughts on Indiana's run game? They have 39 carries for 313 yards on the day.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a backbone of Indiana all season. Like, I know it's only 2 weeks, but I've kind of seen enough where I feel comfortable with any of the 3 running backs on the field.
Right.
If you take an injury here or there, you still have 2 more guys waiting there. This is you can make a case that Indiana it has maybe the deepest running back room in the Big Ten this year. I know Penn State is really good, Oregon's really good, a couple other teams. But in terms of just talent and guys that you feel comfortable with, you can go 3 deep at running back and feel good about any of those guys. We saw with Roman Hemby, he had a couple catches today. All 3 of those guys are kind of versatile and unique in their own way. Just the way they play, that I think you could find a role for all 3 of those guys and feel good about them.
Aiden Fisher with 7 tackles, including 4 solo, 2.5 tackles for a loss, had a sack. Mikhail Kamara, 5 tackles, he had a sack. Just getting those leaders on your defense going, how important was that, and also just the way Indiana was able to be consistent, at least in being disruptive along the defensive line? How important was all of that?
Yeah, no, that was huge because obviously week 1, I think it was only 3 tackles for loss Indiana had, and then the 1 sack late in the game. So for them to come away with 14 TFL today, that's obviously huge. And I really like the way they use Aiden Fisher. It looked like they tried to feature him a lot. They had him blitzing off the edge, blitzing up the middle. He had a huge day, Aiden Fisher did. I thought Kellen Wyatt had a really good game off the edge. And then Mikhail Kamara obviously gets in the sack column for the first time this season. So to get those guys going, obviously, is big. I would like to see more out of Kamara because obviously, All-American type guy in this offseason, he was very clear about his goals. He wants to be a first-round pick. He wants to, break the Indiana sack record. If that's going to happen, you can't have those kind of no-throws that he did against Old Dominion week 1. So I'd like to see more out of him. But on the whole, I thought the defensive line played really well today. A lot more disruption, a lot more havoc that we're used to in 2024. So it's good to see that kind of turn into form.
We're talking to Jared Kelly from Peegs.com. Charlie, the intern, you had a question for Jared?
Not really a question, more of a comment for the show. You guys are talking about the Illinois game, but after that, if I'm looking at my sheet here, next on the schedule would be
Indiana State. But, the Indiana State game isn't going to be the challenge that Illinois is going to be.
But I'm talking about Oregon.
Oh, Oregon. Well, that's weak from now.
Preparing for them and getting ready for all that.
So, again, Jared, so now that you see what you saw today, before we let you go, what do you want to see from this Hoosier Ball Club against Indiana State so that they could really hit their stride for the start of the Big Ten season?
Priority number 1 for that game, obviously FCS opponent. You just got to stay healthy. That's a game where you should be up, huge by the time you get to halftime. Hopefully you get the backups in there for most of the third and all of the fourth quarter. So that's the first priority, is to stay healthy. Get all your big plays out of the way in the first half, get the backups in the second half. But more of the same of today. I mean, obviously Kennesaw State was a little bit of a lesser opponent than Old Dominion, and Indiana responded in that way. Indiana State is obviously a step down from what Kennesaw State was. So you just like to see all the things that they improved on this week translate to next week and keep building. And like I said, just keep everybody healthy. And we saw, I know Ken at the end of the game where right before Fernando Mendoza got pulled, he got legs taken out under him on a scramble. Hopefully we don't see any more of that, because that kind of made me a little scared there at the end.
No, it's terrifying. It's terrifying when you have that key. Well, Jared, I appreciate you calling in. Hopefully we can hear from you after the next game.
Sure. Thanks for having me, Ken.
All right, thanks a lot. Indiana, 56-9 winners. Did you have any final thoughts, Charlie?
Nope.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have on the Peegs Postgame Live. I want to thank you for listening, and I want to remind you to visit Peegs.com for the very best in IU football and basketball coverage you're going to find anywhere. Nobody listens, and nobody listens. That might well be true. But nobody covers Hoosier recruiting quite like Jeff Rabjohns, Matt Weaver, Trevor Andershock, and Jared Kelly. So come be a part of a thriving and exciting community at Peegs.com. Folks, you are not going to be disappointed. Folks, we're out of time. But for now, and for Jeff, Matt, Trevor, Jared, and Charlie the intern, I'm Ken Bykoff saying thanks for listening, everybody.